Welcome back, Mr. Kautz-Vella. We are very glad to be here with you today, and I understand that you have some more pertinent information to share with us, so thank you very much.
I wanted to come back to the last question before the break. And actually, I answered on one aspect in detail because I was not quick enough to find the right words for more aspects into this. So if there's somebody who is involved or who was subject to black magic rituals done by third parties, there are actually three things that need to be regarded. One is dealing with the inner status that came out of this story, which is the drama triangle, which is the dedication to the different drama positions, victim, perpetrator, savior. This is just between you and yourself. The second thing is the abuse of the ritual was done within the bloodline, within the family context. Then you have something that is best to be described as a perpetuating traumatization. If I suffer a trauma from my parents, I have two possibilities. Either I pass on the trauma to my children and feel normal, or I rebel against tradition and then I collide with my own anger towards my parents. This works with all bad habits that are implemented in this manner in cultures. This would mean if there is kind of the memory, the trauma of being ritually abused, there are two possibilities. Either you go into the perpetrator role with your own children, nobody wants that. So you need to basically pass back this trauma to the parent line, like mirror it backwards in time and give it back, which means dealing with your own anger. This is kind of the important step that needs to be taken, that you are willing and able to handle the anger against your own parents. And this is very often impossible because of still existing codependencies. But there's no way around that. If you don't pass it back, you will pass it forward in one or the other way. And if you don't take the perpetrator role, you will be kept caught in the victim role. So this is the second important stuff. And the third one, where we worked on it a little bit now during that hour of having a meal, is actually the third-party contract or agreement. Somebody else made an agreement with a dark realm regarding your physical integrity. And this is not valid. This is something that should not be done, because normally for an agreement, you need to sign in consciously. And you can claim this agreement being invalid. And I just worked on a little information to do so that includes all aspects. I'm going to read it. I terminate all contracts or agreements concluded by third parties regarding myself, and herewith return all liabilities and karmic implications to the contracting parties. And this brings basically, if your parents dedicated you to giving birth to demons, then they will be giving birth to demons, because they made the contract. If the karmic implications, the dark side tried to forward the karmic implications to the parents, because actually the parents agreed to do this, and the demonic side just manipulating, and they believe they are out of karmic consequences, then the karmic implications go back to the dark realm. And this is something they really fear. And this is a point where that will not bother you again, because everything that happens immediately falls back to them. And this is what can be said as an affirmation, and either this works kind of as white magic, or if it doesn't work, it will basically make your inner resistance to this tangible. And then you find kind of the points you can work on yourself. So these are the three things basically will be all part of a healing path and of an escape path from these third-party contracts. This is the best we could come up with within this hour. It is very possible that the circumstances will quickly change because there are shifts in the non-physical realms will show consequences quite soon. And I believe that solving these issues will become easier in near future. I cannot go into details because I don't want to promise things that are not here yet, but as far as we observe what's happening, it looks like that solutions will be easier in future. So if it doesn't work out today, it might be an easy thing in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months to get out of automatisms. That's it.
That's incredible information for you to share with us, Harald. There are so many people who have been a product of generational satanic ritual abuse, as we know, which I will be going into later this afternoon, as I have scoured many of your videos and taken very detailed notes, and will be delving into some other topics that you cover in other works that you have done, but not in the one that we cover today. So I have basically scoured your entire career, sir, for the most pertinent information that I feel that people here in this realm need to understand and come to terms with. And just some of them to be validated. They have had these experiences, these things that everyone thinks they're crazy, nobody can relate to them other than other people like us who have experienced those things also, which makes for a wonderful camaraderie with, you know, the Morgellons people. We are all a tribe, you know, we have joined forces and put our heads together and shared our protocols and the things that we need to survive this lifetime. So again, that's a wonderful question and wonderful answers. Thank you so kindly. Is there anyone else that has a question?
Hey,
This is Miss Candy.
with C, with a C. My question is, okay, I know with all my heart my family lost me. I had the most wonderful, supportive husband. There was times when I was in so much pain, and one time in particular I was on my hands and knees on the floor, and I was being electrocuted. I was crying out to God to please take me if he was done with me. And my husband and my youngest daughter that still lived at home, they were just sitting there watching TV like nothing was happening. And I'm down on the floor on my hands and knees begging God to take me if he's done with me, you know. And I got up and I pushed my hair back out of my face, and the top of my head was wet. And I touched the floor and I'm like, the floor's not wet. What is going on? And so I realized at that moment that I was crying, which I had not been able physically to do in over 10 years. So the crying that was happening to me freaked me out so bad, I started hysterically laughing. And I was like, oh, God, I guess you're not done with me. I guess I have more work to do, because you gave me this ability back that I lost and took for granted, you know, when I got angry at you and said, I just don't want to cry anymore. So he took that from me for over 10 years. So I get it back, and I'm literally laughing. And they're both looking at me like, you know, like I was weird or something. And I mean, I just went through this traumatic pain where it was just so horrible. And they just kept watching TV like nothing was happening. And I do not understand. I mean, I know they love me. I know when I go to the doctors, he sees these huge lesions. They've seen the fibers coming out of my body in gobs. How do people that don't have this refuse to see what's happening to us? I don't get that. I never could. And I'm angry about it.
Let him in.
I experience these things rather on the professional level. I spent quite a bit of time addressing the German health authorities with this problem. And I showed them the full visual documentation of what these things are, the same pictures basically that you have seen today. And they all acted as if I showed them blank paper.
Exactly.
No reaction. And then I had also emotional reactions. I screamed, I cried, I did anything to wake them up. And it was as if nothing happened. Just cold shoulder, no reaction, nothing. And this was repeating every single time I addressed people who should put attention. And later I had other experiences with, let's say, spiritual trance, where I started to work with people that appeared loving and that appeared supportive. And I had to realize that somehow a fake reality was created around us. It was like they could completely read my mind and my emotional body. They knew every single motion within me immediately, so they appeared like the wisest and best and well-informed and most loving entities I could deal with. And at the same time, they kind of started healing processes that appeared real to me because I could sense what was happening in my body. But at the end of the day, we realized nothing happened. It was all elusive. It was just appearing to be happening, to misguide and distract us from what actually should have been happening. And we rooted this problem down actually to the sister race to the Morgellon spiders, which are the snakes. It is a very similar story that you can observe with autistic children having this slime mold with a secondary genetic cluster producing snake demons, so the ones we know from the Bible, from the story of Adam and Eve in paradise, the ones we know from the Asian tradition of Kundalini yoga. These are also artificially created demons who take a position within the human bioenergetics, winding around the spine, having at least Madame Kundalini has her head in the back, her tentacles on the sensitive spots in the brain. And she has the ability to communicate with other snakes through the hive consciousness of the AI sitting in the background, or of the degenerated planetary spirit sitting in the background. And she can control everything we sense in the sense of taking out awareness, like blinding things, one possibility, or adding illusion. Adding illusion is what we call magic in the old sense. This is the magic abilities of dark magicians to sign a contract with the snakes, to make the snakes create the illusions they make appear as magic. And whenever the disease is involved, and let's say the demonic realm wants to isolate the victim, to make the family not be empathic with what is happening or just blind it out, it's an easy game for the snake to basically completely blind them and make them not being aware of what's happening. I don't know if this is the case now. It's a kind of good excuse for them. I still would confront them with their behavior just to make them aware that something within them is not empathic, because it's not a good condition to be completely unempathic. So this happened, it's not nice. It should be different in future. So go forward, address it with them, tell them this is not the condition I want to live in when I'm in pain. This means that I deserve at least a little bit attention. But don't be angry with them, because it might be just something that was completely hidden to them, that was blinded out.
I need help.
Like white out is the best expression. If you're not supposed to see something, you see nothing. This is within the abilities of these snake demons.
Wow, amazing. Thank you very much.
Very good, thank you so much. We're just having a moment again of technical difficulty. There seems to be some of that going on here today. So we're doing our best to open this page back up again. And so there we are, we have you back, thank you so much. I was glad that you had mentioned the Kundalini Yoga. I try to teach people that we have been so deceived at every turn of every corner that we take in our life by Satan himself. And so people who are practicing these Kundalinis and all of these different things that think that they are on the right path, you know, the Bible tells us wide is the path but narrow is the gate. And so you may think that you're on the right path and you're walking this wonderful, glorious, beautiful path, and what you don't realize is 3/4 of the things that you're doing along that path have been brought to you by Satan. One of the most important things somebody said to me is he does not show up at your door with a set of horns and a tail, but he appears to you in your life as everything you desire. So when we desire for this healing and we desire for greatness and we desire to help other people, sometimes we are very deceived. People practicing Reiki and things of this nature, when they think it's divine and that it comes from heaven, again, we have been deceived on multiple levels. There is only one way, there is only one path, and I tell people all the time, if God had wanted us to do Reiki, it would be written for us to do that. If he had wanted us to do all of these extraneous things, it would be written for us to follow those directions or those instructions, and none of this is written. So things can be very subtle, and we still believe them to be faithful and beautiful and honest, and they're not. And sometimes there's a lot of truth mixed with a lot of bullshit, and sometimes there's a little bit of bullshit mixed with a lot of truth. So it's really a full-time job just to decipher that information sometimes.
I would go even further. I would also question if you say that Satan knocks on your door not with his horns on the head visible. I would also question the traditional religions very much. The only thing that turned out valid in my experience is my own heart perception. Whatever I perceive with my heart chakra, whatever I perceive in the right manner through empathy and intuition is reliable. With the limits, I had to realize that, for example, if you have still manipulative installations in your body, sometimes it's impossible to distinguish between gold and silver. Gold being true love, silver being stolen energy from the demonic realm. And when kind of your perception is kind of blinded to see colors, you just see brightness, and then it's hard to distinguish one from the other. But actually these are still the valid organs to perceive things is your own heart. And every second-hand information is more than questionable. I don't trust the priest, I don't trust anybody who's involved in institutionalized religions, because this is all more the horny thing that doesn't appeal.
Well, as a matter of fact, this afternoon I will be going into more of that with your work as related to the Black Goo and Mecca and the Catholic churches and how they've incorporated this into their religions. And again, that's another sign of our deception, and that we have been deceived through that. The heart chakra is the key to this entire life. Love is the cure for all of this. Laughter may be the best medicine, but love is the cure. And as long as we raise our vibrations and we live in a state of constant love and empathy and compassion and grace, then we will find our true selves and we will find our healing path. So with that, I will say good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you so very much for your time. We are looking forward to another time of perhaps some of us Skyping you live again for just another, you know, kind of impromptu visit. So many people have so much information they want to ask you, and I'm sure you have so much more to share with us. So once again, from the bottom of our little hearts here in the USA, thank you very much for your time and your dedication to this mission, Mr. Kautz-Vella. You are a true hero to many of us, and you are a real humanitarian. Thank you.
I wanted to add one to the things you said. Humility is the key to getting help. This is one, and please don't push me into the hero corner, because it's too close to the rescue role. Yeah, I'm just a normal person, and what I did was something that had to be done. So I was in the position to do so, so I did. That's all. There's nothing special about it. I wish that every human on this planet would just do his job in this manner, and in a way, everybody does. So I was lucky to get all these jigsaw puzzle pieces in the right order to be able to assemble them, and I did assemble them. That's it. So now it's kind of time to carry all this forward. The more you basically look at me as somebody who found something, the slower the entire process of healing for the society will be. Because now your attention should be directed to the next steps that go from you to the outer world, because I do not have more solutions. I do not have more knowledge to share. This now can be shared. I guess this lecture and maybe the discussion are going to go online. And then this is it. It is done. It is out there. The knowledge can spread. But the next steps are important. And on the personal level, the next step is to actually cure yourself with all the knowledge you gathered on that conference. And the next step is kind of to spread that spark of possibilities to other people who need to help themselves. It's not about helping them, it's just passing over the key for self-love and making this decision to go into healing and into the divine spirit. This is what needs to be happening. And then, of course, there's also the question, how do you deal with a society that actually is based on all these twisted things? I mean, nothing out there is real. Universities do not teach knowledge. States and politicians do not proceed freedom and truth or anything of that kind. The military is not rescuing victims, but persecuting other countries. Everything is standing upside down in this world. And we're so twisted in our perception that it seems to be normal to us, and it's not normal. It needs to be actually confronted with an 24/7 protest and confrontation with the deeper truth about things. We need to address our demonic implants as what they are. At the moment, everybody is covering the other's face because it kind of feels like polite not to go too far with truth. But we do need radical truth. And this needs a bit courage. And this needs kind of a strong spine when people kick back to stay standing. But all of you speak out of experience, and there's nothing stronger than experience. And this needs to go out.
Absolutely, that is the absolute truth. Thank you for sharing your truth with us as we try to share our truths with the rest of the world. Thank you for everything, sir, and we will talk again very, very soon.
We will.
May God bless you. Thank you.
Nice.
Bye-bye.